How you doing, guys? It's funny today how I view the Watchtower and Bible Tract Society as opposed to how I viewed it in years gone by. When I started fading and you get away from that constant bombardment and the constant repetition. I mean, let's face it, I think we all know the tactics of repetition. When you hear something so much it becomes true, whether it's true or not. I always found it funny that once the cloud clears, and they actually call themselves Christians, and you realize that they're not Christians. I touched on this on my last video. Their teachings are far from Christian, yet they can still consider themselves shepherds. Okay, maybe they are shepherds. This is a verse we've heard many times in John chapter 10 in verse 27, where it says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." And the governing body likes to put themselves in that position. Okay, there are shepherds of all kinds. There is only one good shepherd. And the fact that the governing body wants to put themselves in that position doesn't exactly make them correct. Yes, it's true. Sheep are funny that way. They will follow their shepherd anyways. I've seen many Watchtower articles on it. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that this lamb followed his shepherd too, right to the slaughterhouse. So what am I getting at? Guys, I don't know how many of you have ever heard of the clergy response team. You may want to look it up, but Watchtower and Bible Tract Society is a corporation. No doubt about it. What is the main duty of any corporation? That is to make money. Jehovah's Witnesses, yes, your governing body are your leaders. But what kind of shepherds are they? They belong to a corporation. Who do your governing body answer to? No, they don't run the corporation. They not have the final say in what direction they go to. They are simply the front men. No, they answer to the board of directors in Pennsylvania. And if they don't do what the board of directors tell them, believe me, they're going to be out of a job. They can replace any one of them at any given time. And with all the new light, they'll simply find other governing body members. Believe me, they don't want to lose their jobs. As far as the clergy response team, I think we all know that the majority of religions in this country are tax exempt. There's a big issue with that. There was one time I actually believed that the Watchtower was paying its taxes. The first downfall when I started pulling away was come to find out that no, Watchtower was not paying its taxes. As a matter of fact, they were doing funny things with them. I tried to wake a few up and actually got myself on the chopping block by doing so. No, not only are they not paying their taxes, but they're investing. They're investing in the stock market. Matter of fact, there's multiple corporations that they hide their money in. We all know that now. That's why we got out. There are many still in that kind of on a state of denial about that. However, being that they are a money-making corporation, under the guise of a religion, they want to keep that tax-exempt status, much like most religions in this country. Now, the clergy response team, in order to keep that tax-exempt status, what do they have to do? They only tell their parishioners and their followers what the government wants them to know. They're keeping everybody in the dark. Jehovah's Witnesses, look at your spiritual food over the last 5 or 6 years. Do you really see progression? I stopped seeing that some years ago. A letter-writing campaign to the Russian Federation is not spiritual food. The one scripture in Jehovah's Witnesses, you've heard this as well, and other religious organizations are using this as well. What is it, the one thing that the government wants these religious organizations to do is to keep you in subjection. That's their job of the religions in this country right now. The scripture they will use is at Romans 13:1, where it says, "Let everyone be in subjection to the governing authorities." And this is the kicker. "For there is no authority except that which God has established." which is true. However, they were also in subjection in Judea in the year 70 AD when the Romans destroyed Jerusalem. And what did Jesus say? Get out. Something I touched on in my last video. So, what is the jobs of the religious organizations in this country right now? Which also is going on in other countries as well. To keep you in subjection. To lead you all basically to the slaughterhouse. Jehovah's Witnesses, you are not protected. Your spiritual leaders are not spiritual. They're corporate puppets. Many of us already know this and we got out. Guys, wake up. Look at your preaching work. You're doing anything but. What am I seeing now? Every car crash, we see Jehovah's Witnesses. Now upwards of 5 or 6 of them. Looking at their devices. They don't preach anymore. They don't even carry Bibles. Guys, are you seeing this? What do? Oh, they steer everybody to jw.org, which is the most misleading website. And now we all know about the Shumbrella. You guys are shunning. Did Jesus Christ shun? In all honesty, in my message to the Stuart, Florida congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, you are shunning me. Do you know why you're shunning me? You're left with the impression that I'm living an immoral lifestyle, which is far from the truth. Why? Because I refused to go to my final judicial hearing. And why was I called to a judicial hearing? Because I'm questioning your beliefs. So, is that living an immoral lifestyle? I'm probably more moral than most of you in there. But this is why you're shunning me. And the ridiculous reasons of why you're shunning most of us. I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself. You're shunning me because I'm questioning your ever-changing beliefs. And let's face it. How many of us have heard this? And I know we all know it. When I started fading, I had one elder say to me, "Where else would you go?" Another twisting of the words of the gospel. When an elder will say, "Where else will you go to?" When those were actually Peter's words to Jesus. And I believe that was at Matthew 24:16. When the bulk of Jesus' followers didn't quite comprehend what he was talking about and they walked away. And Jesus turned to his other 12 and says, "You don't want to go also, do you?" And Peter says, "Where will we go to? You've got sayings of everlasting life." But Watchtower likes to put them in a position. Where would you go to? Those were Peter's words to Jesus, not Jesus' words to Peter. Yet Watchtower likes to put themselves in that position and ask you, where would you go to? Okay, my answer, when I was asked that, following the Christ, not following these 8 Goombas in Warwick, New York, who are nothing but corporate puppets. Guys, inside the org, and excuse me for 1 second, guys. This does not include the PMOs, physically and mentally out, because you guys are well aware. You're working from the inside out, while we're working from the outside in. This is for you Jehovah's Witnesses who still believe this is God's organization. First of all, the Almighty doesn't need a money-making corporation to get his word out. But you're following a lie. You're following a corporation that's already sold you out. There is a big purge to get rid of any unwanted witnesses because they're getting to the point where they don't need you. When it comes down to it, this corporation will reinvest elsewhere to hide their money. Believe me, they have their protection in this country. It's going to be difficult to take them down. They'll simply reinvest in another corporation, and you will be sold down the river. One of these days, you're going to go to the Kingdom Hall, and it's going to be no more. And all that hard-earned cash went to make this corporation a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And believe me, your governing body has no love for you. They tell you what the board of directors wants you to know. And they, in turn, are told what to tell them from the government. All right, guys? I'd love to hear your comments, guys, and thanks for stopping by. I will talk to you soon. You guys have a good day.